Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Today I'm going over the newly finalized 2022 Congressional Map out of the state of North Carolina. So with North Carolina, the state Senate or State House just finalized a new map for 2022. And in this map, it has 3 solid Democratic districts, 10 Republican solid or leaning districts, and then 1 highly competitive battleground district. So how does this differ from the old one? Well, from the old map to the new map, 2 Democratic seats are now 2 plus Republican seats, and there's a new highly competitive seat as well. So in the grand scheme of things, what does this mean? Well, simply put, that means Republicans are going to do better. And I believe North Carolina gained a congressional district, if this is correct. Yes, they did. Plus one new district. So naturally, when there's a district gained, there's an opportunity for one party or another to gain some ground, and that's exactly what happened. Republicans were able to redraw districts to give themselves more of an advantage. So North Carolina's 2nd district, which is G.K. Butterfield's Democrat plus 1 district. This is the highly competitive battleground one. You look back in 2018, and Butterfield won this race by about 40 points. Very big win. And then he won it in 2020 by about, 46 about, by almost 8 points, a little over 8 percentage points. So much smaller of a margin, probably a better Republican candidate, but still a pretty big win. So what happens in this new map, this district is redrawn into a D plus 1, making it highly competitive. And he's also surrounded by R plus 18, R plus 20, R plus 10, and then the 2 solid Democratic districts surrounding the Raleigh area. D25, D42, R20, R16. So Republicans redrew this district in a way that I believe makes North Carolina 5 and 6 more solid Democrat. But I believe part of these districts were a part of North Carolina's 2nd beforehand. Let me see if I can go back to the old map. Let me see if I'm correct. Yes. So this district was D plus 7. It was a little bit smaller. And this district was D31, and it was much bigger. Now, those 2 districts are much smaller, and if you look closely, it kind of draws a weird Texas-shaped line where it kind of makes like a panhandle shape that cuts out North Carolina's 1. Whereas the new one is just one straight line, which also means these areas right here, if it went from D1 on the new map and D7 in the old one, these areas around here must be relatively pretty conservative, which is why in this new district it is now D plus 1, and then there's also a little more areas here that are now in the district, which also makes it more conservative. So this is the new highly competitive one. And Democrats are D plus 25 in the 5th and D42 in the 6th. And then in the Charlotte area, North Carolina's 9th is D plus 45. But in terms of gerrymandering, I think the Republicans did a pretty heavily gerrymandered map, even though it did get approved. So, I mean, once it's approved, you can't really complain anything too much without going to court over it. But even still, Republicans, in my opinion, did heavily gerrymander this map. I mean, going from D plus 7 to D plus 1 is not the most egregious thing because we have absolutely seen worse. But what the Republicans did was, in the old map, there was 4 Democratic seats, 1 leaning one, and 2 lean Republicans. What the Republicans did in this one was they solidified the D plus 3, acknowledging there will always be 3 Democrats. And then they also used the added 1 seat to redraw the map so there will be 1 highly competitive race and still be 2 highly competitive Republican races, or races that'll probably lean Republican. But instead of there being that lean Democrat, which was D7 for North Carolina's 2nd, it will now be a highly competitive race that in a good Republican environment can easily be won by the Republicans. And checking on the latest approval polls in the RCP average, Republicans are up 46 to 41.8. So on this map, we know Democrats will still get 3 House races. But North Carolina's 2nd can absolutely flip. Which, if Republicans do well in 2022, they'll win 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 out of the 14 districts from North Carolina, almost a supermajority-like level in the state of North Carolina. So this map is pretty, I would say, I would say it's gerrymandered, and it certainly favors the Republican Party. I have seen more egregious maps, but this is certainly gerrymandered in the Republicans' favor. But overall, that is the rundown for the North Carolina proposed map. Republicans are now more favored in the state than they were in 2020 or 2018. Leave a comment below, tell me what you thought of this video, and like the video as well. Make sure you press the red subscribe button that is in the description box below as well, or you can click on the button in the bottom right corner of the screen to subscribe as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.